Actually, is it okay if I take my dog out of here because she's gonna start barking? Yeah. What were we talking about?
I love the mode of designer turns entrepreneur, and we're doing things a little bit differently today because I asked Emanuela to join me, and she's a social media marketer for interior designers. So I think it's going to be really interesting for everyone to hear what she does for interior designers, how she works. So hi.
Hey everyone.
First thing I want to ask you, Emanuela, is, wow, who are you? Where are you? What do you do?
I am a social media manager for interior designers, and I'm currently in Brazil. Right now I'm offering only managing social media for Instagram and Facebook, but I do also want to start branching out to Pinterest. I just haven't studied it sufficiently to be offering that service yet. I was working as a virtual assistant for a mom coach, and then she decided to shut down her business because of COVID. And then I also realized that interior design was always super important to me because I have depression and anxiety, and then especially during COVID, it was really important to surround myself with things I love, like plants. So yeah, and then I decided that interior design was definitely going to change because of COVID. So offering e-design, online design, all of that was definitely going to change. So then I thought I wanted to help them.
Yeah, I think you're right that a lot of people have switched career during the lockdown, and a lot of interior designers started offering e-design. So yeah, the interior design scene is so...
Really, is it the barking really loud?
No, it's okay. Don't worry.
Okay.
I'm gonna have a lot of stuff to edit. Online-based business offering outsourcing services to interior designers worldwide. And we support designers through a variety of tasks like drafting, 3D rendering, presentation. We do Photoshop, product sourcing, everything that an interior designer may want to outsource.
Do you have like a specific thing that you specialize in, and then other team members specialize in other things?
Well, actually, my job is mostly to be the project manager. So I'm the one talking to the clients. I'm the one assigning the work to the designers. If you have one person that you know you can be in touch with all the time, you're going to create a good relationship because yeah, you know, you can communicate with that person, that they understand what you want, what you like, what you don't like. And it becomes easier over time to work together.
It makes a lot of sense because then you know what you're getting as it, because normally then interior designers could just sort of get like any design, because since they switch a lot, they're not really sure like what results they would get each time.
Yeah, and,
but with totally.
I think designers are already stressed enough. You know, they have enough people to deal with, enough people to manage, and yeah. I think it would be much harder if they had to talk to a different person every time. Whereas, you know, they know me, I know them, and it makes working together much easier, especially when you work remotely. You need to make sure that communication is on point. How important is it for designers to have an online presence? If I talk about me, and it might be the case for a lot of designers, I didn't think it was important for me to post on Instagram or on Facebook for that matter, which is probably completely wrong to think that because I'm an online business.
I think it's very important, especially now. I know that a lot of interior designers, their entire business was based on word of mouth, but now it's completely different. So now you are competing with a lot of interior designers who are doing interior design and who are working around the world. Mm-hmm. So you are competing with a lot of interior designers who already have a social media presence. Yeah. And that right now is a lot easier than getting known through word of mouth, because no one is really going around as much or getting out and talking to other people that they might not know. I think it completely depends on what type of design you specialize in and who your ideal clients are. So I do know that a lot of interior designers really do get confused on like what they should be posting, and they just post either pictures of their work or random pictures of like Pinterest and interior design and things like that, but they don't really focus in on what their ideal clients want, because that's what you should really be focusing in, and that makes you stand out a lot more than just general interior design work on social media. So how can outsourcing design projects actually help an interior design studio?
I was working remotely on my own, doing private clients for the residential and commercial sectors. And I realized that probably half of my clients at the time were architects and interior designers who needed help, like regular help on projects. They wanted to delegate like some of their work, so the bulk of the project, which was construction drawings or even Photoshop or 3Ds, because then they had more time to concentrate on the design, on the design concept of the project. They also had more time to go to site meetings, to talk to clients. Even if you have your own business, you can't be doing everything. You can't be wearing all the hats, because, well, first, you're not going to be able to do it. You have so much to think about as a business owner. You need to grow your business. You need to find new clients. You need to nurture the clients that you already have. You need to concentrate on the design, on your brand. I always tell my clients not to outsource the design, because I feel that it is their brand. The clients go to them because they like their design style. They like to interact in spaces that they've designed previously. And I think it's very important that they keep that in-house. But then when it comes to construction drawings or joinery details or even doing 3Ds for presentations, I think it's good to delegate, because then you free up some of your time to do what matters. So
yeah, that makes sense. You don't have to do like everything on your own.
No, and it's difficult as a business owner, even if you have a couple people helping in-house. A lot of our clients can't afford to hire another full-time designer. So outsourcing when you need it is a great alternative.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
Okay. Wow, you said that you do social media for Instagram, on Instagram and Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a platform that you think is more important for interior designers?
So if your goal is to get clients through social media, first of all, I think it depends completely on where your ideal clients are, because sometimes your ideal clients are older and they're just completely on Facebook and they don't really have the patience to use Instagram or Pinterest. So they're like more traditional, but sometimes they're just using Pinterest and not Instagram. So I think you have to like test it out a bit. And if you already have clients, then it might be good to like go back and ask them where they hang out on social media. But
that's a good point.
It's a good idea. Yeah. But I think Instagram is the easiest to actually create a relationship with your ideal clients, because it is an actual social media, whereas Pinterest is mostly, like you said, a search engine. You can actually like send messages to your ideal clients, but I don't think anyone actually uses that feature. So you could even get like 200 hits to your website through Pinterest, whereas you get like 15 hits a month on Instagram. I'm giving you an example. It's not going to be that much of a difference. But it could just be that even though you have more website hits on one, you create a better relationship with your ideal clients on another one, because you don't want to just be posting pictures and like creating content. You also want to create a relationship and have like a friendly, I don't know, a friendly relationship with your ideal clients. That's actually what gets you clients, because you never, only if you have so many interior other designers that you're competing with. So what is actually going to make you stand out besides actually posting content and types of your design content that your ideal client wants? What will make you stand out is actually being nice and saying like, hey, I am here.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So that way I think, yeah. So I think Pinterest you can use, and it's always good to use and test it out. But in general, I think Pinterest is more for interior designers who are already like really well established in the industry, because then people might not even need like a, hey, I need you to talk to me and warm me up. They might just be like, I really love your work, I'm gonna get you. But most people will need the extra like push.
Yeah. And
does that make sense?
It makes sense, because when you go out, like in the real world that we don't know about anymore, you network like talking to people. And online we kind of forget, well, you know, it's the same thing. You actually have to go talk to people directly. But when you say talking to people, you mean in the DMs, not in comments, or both, I guess.
Yeah, you always want to do both. Rating, comments, and liking and things really helps the Instagram algorithm show you more to your ideal audience. But yes, direct messaging is what actually creates the relationship. But yeah, you're right. It's basically, it's a social media, so it is like networking. And when you're in a networking event, you don't just say like, I'm gonna stand here and everyone's just gonna come up to me because I'm awesome.
Yeah, that's
you
true.
have to. Is there a set client process that KVM has established? Because I think you do have a different process in general than most outsourcing, I don't know, companies for interior designers.
Well, I don't know, to be honest. I haven't found any company that does what I do. So exactly what I do. You know, some companies just do 3D, other companies just do AutoCAD. I try to provide, I always say, you know, I want to become an extension of your team. So we work remotely, but you can consider us as part of your team. You know, I don't want it to be just a service where, you know, okay, you pay for, you know, we create a real relationship. And yeah, over time, it's like, yeah, we work in different places, but we're on the same team. We're here to make it work and to make you succeed. But yeah, the process is pretty simple. The first step is getting on a free discovery call, because it helps me understand your needs, if you do need outsourcing, and if we're a good fit as well, if communication is easy between us. So it's really key to hop on that call. And then you would be choosing one of the packages, and you can check my website. I also post them on Instagram, but we have different packages depending on your needs. So it's important that we chat about what package works best for you. And depending on that, then you just get in touch whenever you need work done. And most designers have already worked with either they have in-house designers, or they've worked with freelancers. So they already know how to brief someone else, but it can be in any form or shape, you know, email, Google Drive folder, Dropbox folder to share images, all the textures, finishes, everything that you want to see on the render, for example. And then, yeah, I always try to communicate as much as possible. Not too much, because we're independent and we know what we're doing, but I want to make sure that the designers know that we are on track and the work is being done. And I just added a new feature, which is a dashboard where designers can see the progress in real time. So it might, give them a peace of mind, to know, okay, this is being done, and it keeps everything together in one space. So they can say, okay, this task is being done now. This task is only due in a week, so it hasn't been started. This one is completed, and we keep all the files and everything in one place. So it's really, really good to stay organized. And then when you've approved the work, we just send the files, for example, the AutoCAD files, because you can keep them on your database, project database. And so, in the future, if you want to work on those files, you can. An important thing that I haven't mentioned is that you can tell us which program you want to use. And we use quite a few programs. Most of our clients always use the same programs, but you can just request a specific program and we may be able to work on it so that, and if you send us a template as well, we work the exact same way that you would in the office, so it's easy for you to take over. So yes, what are your top tips for using Instagram to get paying clients? Because that's what we all want.
Yes. Okay, so first you want to actually identify your ideal clients. I think the main struggle that a lot of interior designers who I've talked to have is that their entire Instagram is just surrounded by other interior designers, and they only interact with other interior designers. So they're never actually in contact with people who might actually want to work with them. So first step is to actually do that. You want to start changing the algorithm so it actually shows you more to them and less to interior designers. Mm-hmm. So the first step is commenting on posts and liking and direct messaging. And basically, it is what I do with you, which is engaging a lot, multiple times a day. So you want to write lots of comments a day, 5 or 10 comments a day, and then direct message 5 to 10 times a day with all different ideal clients. So a tip to actually find where your ideal clients are is to, obviously, first you want to actually know who your ideal clients are. So if you already have worked with clients before, see what they have in common. And then if you have not, then you want to see if there's a type of brand that you want to work with, maybe a bar or a restaurant or I don't know, a hair salon. And it doesn't even have to be specifically working with them, but you do want to see what kind of style they have. And if it's the same style that you want your clients to have, then you want to go and see which hashtags they're using. And then you want to explore the entire hashtag section and find people who are using those hashtags who might be your ideal clients, and then interact with them. So that's the actual main tip to getting clients. You're never just gonna have one day where you do that and you get a client. It is hard work and time, but once you do it for 2 weeks, then it already gets a lot easier to find clients. And sometimes you do get lucky and you get a client at 1 week, but yeah.
It's hard when you have a busy schedule to say, okay, I have to actually schedule, reorganize my time. So I have, I don't know, half hour or 1 hour per day where I just network. It just feels, oh my God, so much work and so much time, but it's actually key.
People don't have time to do it. That is my job for a reason, because I only do that. If I had other things to do, then I wouldn't be able to do that. So I think that's why interior designers don't do that, because they just don't have the time. They have to focus on their projects and their clients and their deadlines and suppliers and all of that.
Yeah,
so
it's definitely added stress to think that we need to spend more time on social media.
What's the difference between outsourcing and freelancing? I remember you once told me that you do not freelance.
Well, technically it's kind of freelancing because we don't have contracts. We don't have long-term contracts with designers. However, freelancing refers more to individuals. So, you know, when you say a freelancer, it's more an individual. Whereas outsourcing, like we're an outsourcing company, so you outsource to a company. So I did both. Like I was a freelancer before I started my company. And in a way, yeah, outsourcing is kind of freelancing, but I think when people think freelancing, they just think, oh, it's a freelancer working by himself. Whereas we're a company, and it's you get a bigger pool of talents, you get a bigger pool of skills, and flexibility, because if you work with a freelancer, he's not your employee. So when you tell him, well, tomorrow I really need help, he might tell you, well, I'm working for someone else tomorrow, I can't help you. Whereas if you go to a company, because they have different designers, you're practically sure to be able to get help.
They feel more safe.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, that's a good word.
Okay.
What services you provide, and which one is the most popular?
So I have two that are the most popular. The engagement service that I just recently created is now the most popular. Yeah. Because it is like the probably the one that is going to get you clients the fastest. But it will only get you the clients the fastest if you have good content already. Because if you're like reaching out to your ideal client and they see your Instagram and it's just crap, then they're not really going to want to work with you. And if it's like completely outdated and you haven't posted for like 2 months, then they just might be like, well, where have you been, you know? So it is the most popular one, but you still have to be very aware of the content that you're posting.
Yeah, so
which is why that's my second most popular package, is the Instagram and Facebook one that I post content 3 times a week. So the designers provide me the pictures and things like that, and their work and pictures of themselves. And then I just create cool captions and use the right hashtags to reach their ideal clients. It's never just like a general interior design post that any interior design studio can use. It is always very specific to them. So what I generally do if I'm working with them for like the first weeks is I just completely resource their blog posts. I don't think resource is the right word. Reuse. I reuse their blog posts. So like in one blog post, I can do like 4 different posts, just like rewording it and things like that.
Yeah.
But then obviously it gets to a point where you can't just post blog posts. And then I come up with a lot of different ideas. And what I do is I send them a quick message, be like, hey, what did you do this week? Or what was your biggest challenge this month with the client? And then they send me a quick audio back, and then I write my caption. So it's always very personal and specific to them and their situation. And I think that's why it keeps their brand. Some designers might want to outsource their work to someone local, like someone in their own city. Is there a benefit to outsourcing remotely like you?
Okay, well, when you say local, I'm not too sure if you mean that they want someone like a freelancer to come in their office as opposed to working remotely, which, you know, some designers prefer to have someone come in the office and work next to them. However, the benefits of working remotely, I've seen with all my clients since I started doing even freelancing remotely. The main benefit is that you save on desk space, office space. I was actually hired full-time by a company based in London, to work remotely. And that's why I left Brazil, because I had a full-time job in London, but they allowed me to work from home. So I left for Brazil for that reason. And the reason why is because rent is super expensive in London. They didn't want to get a bigger office, but they had plenty of work. So they started hiring a couple people to work remotely. They didn't have the great thing as well, because I was working full-time for them, but I wasn't an employee. I was a freelancer.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't have to, they didn't have any overhead costs with me. So for example, I had to get my own laptop, my own programs. They didn't have to pay for my software licenses. I had a designer in Australia. So we had a 13-hour time difference, and it actually worked perfectly because he would go to site meetings during the day. Then he would go home and end of day, he would brief me, then go to bed, and by morning the work was done already. So that was great for him. And when you work with someone remote, you have a bigger pool of talents. You're not limited to location. So it's easier to find people with the right skills for a specific project, because when you look for someone local, you don't have that many options. So
I really like your model, because it also it's perfect for a lot of different types of studios, you're not just like looking for one specific ideal client. So yeah, you're engaging and talking to a lot of people, and not everyone is going to be a lead, like you said. Not everyone is going to consider working with you. So you always do want to keep track of them. On Instagram, it's pretty easy because you can just like flag. Do you know how to do that?
Yes, I've noticed it.
Yeah, I think I've done it for you. Yeah, you can just flag it. But if you have like a lot of people like we do, then it would be good to start keeping track and writing it down on a Google Doc or something like that. Because even if they're not interested at the time, you could reach out like a week later, or a month later, or 3 months later, and they might be completely different then than they are now, workload wise. So it would be good to always keep track and keep the relationship going, because they might always need you. They might always want your service.
Do you keep track on what date you talk to which person, and then you kind of tell yourself, okay, 3 months from now, I'm just going to reach out again? Or
I think it's always good to, even if you don't have to, and you shouldn't want to reach out just to be like, hey, do you need my service?
No, yes.
So it is always good to, yeah. So it's always good to like keep track of the list, and then just like reply to their story, or say like, hey, how are you doing? Because for interior designers who are just looking for clients to like remodel their home and things like that, it's always good as well, because they might be somewhere financially different in a couple of months than they are now. So it's always good to like keep a friendly relationship, rather than just be like, oh, you don't want my service? That's okay, then I'll move on.